Next, we discuss socialist theories. This gets a little touchy because I think we tend to let the word socialist get thrown about in such a way that people think it's bad, but nobody fully understands it. So let's talk about some terms so that moving forward, we are all on the same page. Socialism, communism, capitalism. Okay, these are three things you're all familiar with in the sense that you've heard them. So let's talk about each one. Socialism is when citizens own agriculture and industry. Okay, so in a socialist society, we have everyone own things collectively. Agriculture, industry, production, all of it. Everyone owns it collectively. And then as citizens, we work according to our talents, okay? Reminiscent of Plato there. We work according to our talents and we receive the necessary goods to survive. So why is that so awful? Or why do people think that it's so awful? Well, for one thing, people have a tendency to equate socialism with communism. And they're not necessarily the same thing. Communism is sometimes considered to be a stepping stone to socialism. So the USSR, the Soviet Union, communist Soviet Union was meant to end up as socialist Soviet Union, except it never could get past communism. Here's why. In communism, again, the citizens own agriculture and industry, but the government controls it. So the idea is that, again, everybody owns everything collectively, but the government controls everything. Socialism can allow for the government to control things, but it doesn't require it. In communism, the government has to control things, and if that government decides to abuse that power to control it poorly, the citizens are stuck. Because in communism, it's all about the betterment of the state. Any work any citizen does in a communist society is supposed to be for the glory of the state. And the state is going to distribute goods as it sees fit. So we might all own it, but the state is only going to distribute it as it wants to, and the expectation is everything we do is to make the state better. So think about the 2008 Olympics. There was a lot of talk, if you watched any of the Olympics. There was a lot of talk about China being fixated on being the country with the most medals because the games were in China, and thus China was going to get the most medals, and it was going to elevate China in such a fashion that they felt that it was necessary that they do anything. Disharmony in the society because people disagree over, say, religion. This isn't permissible. It's not good for the state. Bad news stories because of avian flu or SARS need to be quashed because it's not good for the state. Okay, you're seeing some trends here, right? In a communist society, it's all about making the state better. If that's done in a irresponsible way, then the state's going to be very, very bad, but it's going to want everything to look very, very good. It did not work out well for the Soviet Union. Communism crumbled, and they've been going through some transitions ever since. Curiously, communism has, to some degree, worked out well for China, and that has to do with people that were in charge. And the introduction of industry in China has increased its profitability. And so the theory is everything's doing just great and China's becoming a powerhouse. The conditions of the citizens is a whole other issue. But that's the idea behind communism. So you can see how there's a different goal between communism and socialism. Socialism, people work because they're good at it. They can do a good job, and they do the work to do well. They do the work not to get money, but they do the work to do the work. They take pride in it because they do well at it. Communism, when you do the work, it's to make the state better. Whatever the work, whether you're good at it or not, or whether you enjoy it. All of this is contrasted with capitalism, which we're quite familiar with. Individuals own agriculture and industry, okay? So everything is owned by people, not the people, but people. Okay, you have corporations with CEOs and boards. You have little mom and pop businesses. You have farmers, big farmers, little farmers. The point is that individuals own things, not the state, not people collectively. When we do work, we get pay that is theoretically done. Pay that is in accordance with that work. And if I don't work, I don't get paid. And when I get paid, I use that money to purchase goods in the marketplace, which then sends money into the corporations or the industry, the agriculture, what have you. And that money gets used to pay its workers. And those workers take that pay and buy goods in the marketplace, which funnels money into industry and agriculture. And that money is then used to pay that. You're getting the idea, right? It's a cycle. That's the idea behind capitalism. We do the work because we're motivated to get the money. We do the work because we're motivated to get paid. Socialism, you do the work because you can do the work and because you're good at it. Communism, you do the work because it's going to make the state great. And capitalism, you do the work to get the money so that you can buy stuff. Does that make sense?